Hey, Andy here from builderhottub.com. In this video, we're going to look at the mistakes that I made when I built my DIY hot tub. Let's go ahead and take a look. The whole reason that I started builderhottub.com and the YouTube channel was to help people like you build your own DIY hot tubs. In this video, we'll look at the mistakes that I made, so hopefully you won't make the same ones. The first mistake that I made was I tried to make it too big. Now, it may seem a little odd that you can't build the hot tub as big as you want. You need to consider how you're going to heat it. Now, in my case, I was going to use electric. I knew that I was going to use electric, and my initial drawings had the actual volume of water at well over 3,200 litres, which is a huge amount of water to actually heat. So what I did was I actually scaled that back so that I could stay within the limits of the 3 kilowatt heater that I was going to use on my own build. Now, most of the builds in Europe and the UK will be on a 3 kilowatt heater. Over in the States, it's a 5.5 kilowatt heater. That's normally the one that I would use for heating a hot tub using electric. So the first mistake that I made was trying to make it too big. The next mistake that I made was actually with the control room. Now, if you've read the blog or watched some of the videos, you'll have noticed that I talk about this a lot. Still to this day, it's extremely annoying when I come to change a filter and it's quite difficult to actually get into the control room and access all of the parts. The one thing I would say is if you can make it bigger than you need, make it so you've got real ease of access to actually get in there, to service the pump, look at the heater, changing the filter. You really want ease of access to those components. So for me, the second mistake that I made was making the control room way too small. The third mistake that I actually made with my own hot tub was trying to do things too quickly. I was rushing. Certainly on the plumbing, if you make those joints and you make them well, you take your time over them, you've got a full inch and a bit of pipe inside of those fittings, they're not going to leak. If you rush, if you don't make those joints properly, they will leak. It's as simple as that. Over time, the pressure, the pipes will move and you will end up with a leak. And that's unfortunately what I had with mine. So any of my customers now, I always advise, take your time, do it nice and slowly, make really good joints and you will not have any leaks in your hot tub. The kit that we use is really good quality stuff. So if the joints are made correctly, no problem, happy days. The next mistake that I made was not actually reading the instructions of the spa pack. Now, I know that certainly being male, we don't like reading instructions. I'm sure the females that are watching this video will always say, well, we always read the instructions. I don't, and I didn't on my own build, and it ended up costing me in the wallet. So what I actually did was, by not reading the instructions, not checking the current draw on the hot tub light, when I plugged in a non-standard hot tub light into the control pack, I was drawing too much current, I didn't know, and I was actually blowing the control boards, and it became quite an expensive habit because these control boards are about $300 each, and I was going through them rather quickly. So again, take your time, check everything, read the instructions, look at the current draws, and of course, if I'm supplying you the parts, then I'll have already checked that for you. I will know that it already works, so obviously I can help you on that point. But again, don't make the mistake that I did. It was quite costly. The next mistake that I made, and you're probably thinking, well, hold on, you're advising us on how to build a hot tub, but you made all these mistakes. Well, we learn from our mistakes, and yes, I made quite a few on my own build, and it's great because it means that I can help you not to make the same ones. The next mistake that I made was trying to avoid joints with the pipes. Now, it seems quite odd, but what I was doing was I was trying to bend the pipes round corners instead of putting a 90-degree elbow in there. In my mind, I thought that if I had less joints, then I was going to have less chances of leaks. The reality is, bending those pipes meant that they weren't going into the fittings quite at the right angle, and they've ended up leaking. So I had to take those out, cut them out and replace them. So when you're making or designing your plumbing, which of course I can help you with, make sure you put in those 90-degree angles. The next mistake is kind of related. Keep within the angles of your joints. And what I mean by that is the fittings come in different angles. So you can get 90-degree elbows, 45-degree elbows. Keep to those angles. So don't force the pipe if it isn't at the correct angle. So I used the semi-flexible pipe, or semi-flexible if you're over here in Europe, but it's not actually that flexible as we've seen in previous videos. But what I did, and you can see behind me here, is I kind of had the lower drains coming in with this sort of flexible pipe. What I should have done was kept it to the angles, gone up with a 90 degree, 90 degrees out, 90 degrees down, 90 degrees across. Because what ended up in my control room was where the pipes met, they weren't at the right angles. So I've got pipe work that is kind of all over the place. So keep your pipe work parallel, keep it nice and to the angles of the joints. So 90 degrees, 45 degrees, and you'll be just fine. It just makes life so much easier. And again, it's less chance of having any leaks in your hot tub. And the final mistake that I made with my own build was not taking the time to get the gunite bodies flush and perpendicular to the surface. What that means is when I fitted the wall niche and then eventually fitted the jets, they're at a slight angle. They don't fit completely flush to the wall, even if I've sort of allowed with the tiles to kind of, build up any mistakes or kind of gaps that I had. So what I would suggest is, wherever possible, keeping those pipes as perpendicular as you can when they come out of the wall, and you're going to seal them so that when those jets are installed, they're going to be perfectly flush to the wall. Now, it doesn't actually matter if they're not. It's not going to affect their functionality or anything like that. All that happens is air escapes from the back of them. When your blowers go in, when the jets are on full, you don't notice anyway. So it's not the end of the world if they're not perfectly perpendicular. But if you can get that really nice perpendicular finish for your jets, you'll have no issues at all. And again, it just finishes off a project really, really nicely. I hope you found this video useful. Please avoid the mistakes that I did. If I can help you in any way, please get in touch. Always happy to help. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you on the next one. If you've liked this video, please do like, share and subscribe to the channel. See you on the next